Hi, Sylvia here with your Friday health tip. And I was thinking about healthy eating, as you can see on this first slide here. And do you find it confusing? Sometimes I do, because we're advised that we need to eat that. One day coffee's healthy, the next day coffee's bad for you. One day chocolate's good for you, the other day chocolate is bad for you. And I'm sure it must be very confusing. So I'm going to have a bit of fun today with looking at healthy eating. I remember when I was a little girl and we used to have apples from our local greengrocers that had been grown extremely locally, and I'm sure back then were actually organic. And they would be different shapes, different sizes. They weren't all uniform size. And they really, yes, I think they really were organic, because I remember one day we were having an apple each and Big Sister bit into hers, and out crawled this maggot and crawled onto her hand. Well, you can imagine, she screamed. I wasn't too happy either. I was then looking at my apple and thinking, oh my goodness, there can be something crawling out of my apple. Anyway, she survived. We carried on eating apples, and if it looked like there'd been a maggot in it, well, so be it. Rinse it under the tap and off you go and eat it. And apples, yes, they are good for you. But of course, what is interesting now is that things aren't like that anymore, are they? They all sort of have to be uniform size and everything else. But of course, the other thing too, as I remember, is we used to say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, of course, the skin of the apple contains fibre, doesn't it? And they do contain vitamin C and other qualities for good health. So I was saying before that, it's confusing, isn't it? What should we eat? What is a healthy diet? And I think we should use a bit of common sense here. And if we keep the diet as natural as possible, in this slide you'll see nice fresh carrots, you'll see tomatoes and grapes and raspberries, and it looks like there's a banana there, and spinach and kale. Healthy natural foods that will give you a mix of vitamins and minerals and some trace elements that the body needs. And notice there's also some walnuts there. Now, if you think about the shape of the walnut, it's very interesting, because walnuts are actually said to be good for the brain and contain elements that the brain tissue needs. And of course, they're shaped a bit like a brain, aren't they? And raspberries, they're also full of these things we call antioxidants to help the immune system. So really, for me, it's keeping it simple and eating as fresh and, of course, organic food as possible to remain healthy. Of course, here we've got a nice mix of your blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and then you've got your kale, your spinach, and some broccoli on a plate there with a nice healthy egg and some tomatoes. In the summertime, it's so easy to get these foods we call antioxidants, because I don't know, but I love blueberries, I love strawberries, I love raspberries, and I can eat those every single day. And I'm actually growing in my garden what's known as perpetual spinach, and it's easy to grow, and then you can keep cutting it and it'll go on forevermore. And I think if I pop it in the greenhouse, it'll probably carry on through the winter. So it is about keeping it simple if we want to eat healthily and not complicating it. Really, finally, there's two things I want to share with you. Yes, it is important what we put in our mouth, because I do believe we are what you eat and what you assimilate. And as I was saying earlier, I also do believe in a bit of common sense. There are two things I think, or maybe three things. One is that some people certainly are intolerant to certain foods and need to be mindful of what they eat. Myself, I'm wheat and dairy free, so I have to be careful what I eat. And some people are allergic to peanuts and that, aren't they? And if you've got any concerns about whether or not symptoms you've got are around food, then go and see a qualified, top-notch nutritionist who will advise you. And in that instance, I would certainly say then take that advice. Because my story is I used to get mega migraines, I had irritable bowel syndromes, and I thought I was healthy with a migraine every 3 weeks. That actually put me to bed for a couple of days and I felt absolutely drained for a week or more. But when I stopped eating the foods that I was intolerant to, within 6 weeks, I was a new woman and my energy levels have been amazing for the last, 25, 30 years. Now, occasionally, I can get away with a little diddy bit of wheat. Dairy, not so much. And so it is important, if you are concerned about certain symptoms, that you maybe do look at your foods and what's going in your mouth, because it can actually be your saviour. The other thing, of course, is that as much as, yes, we need to be mindful what we eat, and I do, as much as possible, eat organic foods, and you've seen previously that I do juice in the mornings, and I take supplements. However, that doesn't mean to say that you can't indulge occasionally. You know, like if you fancy fish and chips, I mean, fish is healthy, and depending on how the chips are cooked, you've got potatoes that have got vitamin C in, and peas have got fibre in. And occasionally, yes, I'll have fish and chips. There's the local fish and chip merchant here, actually on the first Monday of each month, does gluten-free fish and chips. Don't always, but very occasionally I think, oh, I've just got to do it. Fish and chips and mushy peas with a bit of tomato ketchup. I'm still healthy, energy levels are still high. So don't beat yourself up if you think, oh, I just fancy that. If you've got an intolerance and you do indulge in something you really shouldn't, that's got wheat and dairy or whatever. I mean, obviously, if you've got something like peanut allergy and if you eat them within 20 minutes, you're going to go into what we call anaphylactic shock. Definitely no. But I have to say, don't make eating a religion, because it can become an obsession. And do your own research. If you want to see what's maybe best for you, then good old Google and do some research. There's lots on there about eating for your blood group. There's a lot about antioxidants, feeding the brain. It's all there. Good old Google and YouTube. Sift and sort and see what's best for you. So that's it for this week. And I will be back next week with another health tip. Have a good one.